Hi everyone, welcome back to my video about Java programming. This video is the first part about arrays in Java. So I will make 3 videos about arrays in Java, and the first one will be very short, the last one will also be very short, and in this video we will cover 3 sections. The first section will cover the difference between primitive times and reference times. The second section will cover array basics, and the last one will cover how to declare and create arrays in Java. Let's first start with an overview of Java's types and see where array types fit in. All types in Java are divided into 2 categories: primitive types and reference types. The primitive types include Boolean and numeric types, which include char and byte, short, int, long, float, and double. Any type other than these primitive types are reference types. The reference types include array types, class types, and interface type. In this video, we will focus on array types. Reference types differ from primitive types in how they store data. Note that every variable associated with a location in memory, and each location in memory has 2 attributes: the memory address of that location and the value stored in that location. The value can change, but the address cannot. A primitive type variable directly holds values of its types. For example, when you declare variable num of type int, then variable num will hold the int value stored in the memory location associated with num. A reference type variable stores the memory address of the objects that are stored in the memory location associated with the variable. We have actually used reference types before. For example, when you declare variable input of type scanner and assign it to a scanner object as in this statement, then variable input is a reference is of a reference type. It stores the memory address of an object of the type scanner, which is a class type. Then variable input is set to refer to an object of type scanner. And so therefore, a reference type variable is normally called a reference. An array is a collection of variables of the same type. Arrays make it convenient to process related groups of values. For example, instead of declaring 5 individual variables of type int to hold the score of 5 students, we can declare one array variable that is the collection of 5 variables of type int. When you create an array, you will have to specify its length or size, that is the number of individual variables in the array. The array's length remains the same once the array is created. The individual variables in the array are called array elements or index variables. Array elements can be any type, either primitive or reference types. Each element in an array is referred to by the array name and the position of the element in the array. The position of an element in an array is called index or subscript. For example, in the array named score, the elements are referred to as score 0, score 1, score 2, score 3, score 4. The numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the square brackets after the array name are the indexes. The syntax of the expression that refers to an element of an array is array name followed by the element index in square brackets, as in score 1. The expression score open brackets 1 close brackets refers to the second element of the array score. An index must be a non-negative integer, that is, a whole number larger than or equal to 0. The first element in an array always has index 0. So the highest index in an array is 1 less than the length of the array. For example, if array score has 5 elements, then its indexes are from 0 to 4. The array name is an array variable, which holds the memory address of the first element in the array. So in this example, score holds the memory address of the index variable score 0, but the index variable score 0 can hold any value of its type, that is, an integer value such as 6. Also note that an index doesn't need to be a literal integer number like 0, 1, 2. It can be any expression as long as the expression has an int value or a value of a type that can be promoted to type int. Those types are byte, short, and char. For example, suppose a variable c is of type char and is assigned to value 2. Then you can use expression c multiply 2 as an index. The expression score open square brackets c times 2 close square brackets is the same as the expression score open brackets 4 close bracket. But if you use an expression that cannot be promoted to typed int, such as 2.0 as index, so as in score of 2.0, then you will get a syntax error. So even though 2.0 has mathematically the same values as 2. Arrays are also objects, and every array object knows its length and stores it in its length instance variable, which can be accessed using the dot operator. For example, the expression score.length returns the length of an array score. Even though the length instance variable of an array is public, it cannot be changed because it is a final variable. To use an array, you first need to declare an array variable, which can be used to reference an array created later. There are two allowed syntaxes to declare an array variable in Java. The first syntax, which is preferred, starts with element type followed by a left and right bracket, then array name, and ends with a semicolon. Of course, there must be one space between the right brackets and the array name. The element type is the type of every element in the array, which can be any type. For example, to declare array score whose elements are of type int, we write int left square brackets, then right square brackets, then at least one space, and then score, then semicolon. The square brackets following the type indicates array type. For example, int left brackets, right brackets, left square brackets and right square brackets is an array type which can reference any array of int variables. Java also allows the C++ style syntax to declare an array variable, which places the square brackets after the array name instead of the type. This is the syntax used in the C and C++ programming language. Although this syntax is allowed in Java, we prefer to use the other syntax. But regardless of which syntax you use, declaring an array does not allocate any memory for the array, unlike declaring a primitive type variable. Memory is only allocated for an array when the array is created. Like other objects, array objects are created with the keyword new. In the syntax to create an array object, after the keyword new, you specify the type of the array elements, followed by the size of the array in square brackets. This new expression returns a reference that can be stored in any array variable with the same element type. For example, assume array variable score has been declared to be of type int left square brackets, right square brackets. Then you can assign score to the expression new int left brackets 5 right square bracket. This new expression creates an array object consisting of 5 int elements and returns the reference to that array. The assignment makes variable score refer to the array object created by the right-hand side expression. Note that the same array variable score can refer to another array object of int elements, such as the array object of 12 int elements in this statement. You can also declare and create an array in one statement, as in this example. So this statement creates an array of 5 int and assigns that array object to the array variable score. So this single statement is equivalent to two statements where the first one would declare the array variable score and the second one would assign score to new int of 5. And note that specifying array size in declaration is a syntax error. Right? So for example, if you place a number 5 between the square brackets after the type using the first syntax for declaring array variable score, you get a syntax error. If you use the C plus plus star syntax and place a number 5 also inside the square brackets after the array name, you also get the a syntax error. You can also declare multiple array variables in one statement. For example, you can write int, then left and right square brackets, and then a comma b comma c, and then semicolon. This statement declares 3 array variables named a, b, c. All of them are of the element type int. And you can also declare array variable with non-array variables in the same statement. For example, in this statement, you declare the array variable a and also declare the int variable x and y. Here are more examples about declaring and creating arrays. And these examples are also an exercise for you. So in this exercise, I'd like you to find and explain errors in each of these 3 declarations. So you can pause the video and try to figure it out, and then come back to see the answer. All right. So here are some. Here are the answers. For the first one, the first statement has no error. Okay, so it just declare the array C to be of 12 int variables. Okay? So the length or the size of the array C is 12. And so recall that the indexes start from 0, and so the highest index is 1 less than the size. So the highest index of the array C is 11. And here we are trying to access the index variables at the index 12, which is not legal. It's not a valid index. So this will create a fatal error because the index must be less than the array length. And the third statement in the first code is okay. Sorry, it's not okay. So here because so this one also has error because the index that you place here is not an int value. It's 0, it's 1.0. So when you use the floating point notation here, that means that it is of time double. Okay? So you cannot use a double value as an index. Okay? So there are 2 errors in this code. For the second one, the error is clear because you put the array size in the declaration. Okay, so you cannot put the array size here. You can only put it in the new expression. And for the third one, the first statement is the declaration of 2 variables, A and B, but variable A is an array variable, okay? And array B is just a primitive variable, which is of time int. So when you assign B to new int of 20, So you are trying to assign B to an array, but B is a primitive type variable. So, so this will cause a syntax error. And here are more examples and also another exercise for you. In this exercise, you have to write 4 statements. The first statement is to declare and create 2 arrays, okay, salary and bonus as described here. The second one is to declare and create one array of 29 Boolean elements. The third statement is to declare and create an array of 20 characters. And the last one is to declare and create an array of 5 objects of the class scanner. Recall that array elements can be of any type, either primitive type or reference type. We have seen examples of arrays whose elements are of a primitive type, such as int. Here are examples of arrays whose elements are of a reference type. The first example is the declaration and creation of array student name of 15 string objects. The second example is the declaration and creation of array input of 3 scanner objects. When an array is created, each of its elements receives a default value of 0 or false or null, depending on the element type. If it's a numeric type or char, the default value is 0. If it's Boolean, the default value is false. If it's a reference type, then the default value is none, as shown in this example. In this example, elements of array C are of type char. After the array C is created, the element C1 has value 0. Note that the index variable C1 is of type char, so its value 0 is the character with the Unicode 0, which is not printable. Therefore, to see the value 0 of C1, we convert it to int before passing it to the println method. So here elements of array B are of type Boolean. So after being created, each element of array B, such as B1, has values false. The element type of arrays S in this example is scanner, which is a reference type. So the default value of its elements after the array is created is none. You can initialize array elements to not default values after the array is created by assigning its index variable to a new value. For example, after declaring and creating array C of 5 char elements, you can assign C0 to character A, C1 to character B, C2 to character C, C3 to character D, and C4 to character E. To make array initialization more convenient, Java has a shorthand notation known as array initializer, which combines the declaration, creation, and initialization of an array in one statement using this syntax. This syntax is similar to declaring and creating an array in the same statement, but instead of Using the new operator, we provide a list of values that will be the initial values of the array elements. For example, this single statement is equivalent to the code of 6 statements, where the first statement declares and creates array C, and the next 5 statements then initialize elements of array C to 5 characters A, B, C, D, E, respectively. Note that you can only assign an array variable to a value list in the same statement that declares the array variable. If you declare the array variable and then assign it to a value list in a separate statement like this, you will get a syntax error. Now I'm going to show you a complete Java program that uses array and array initializer. This program is called init array. So it has only one class named init array, and it has only one method, which is method main. And in the method main, it declares the variable array, which is an array of type int, and it also uses the array initializer to initialize non-default values for the array's elements. And so this is the list of initialized value. And so this array has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it has 10 elements. So therefore, in order to display the values of every element in the array, we would use a for loop that counts from 0 to array.length -1. Okay, so we use this for loop in order to go through the array to display the array's elements. And here we use the index variable to access its array variable. And here is the output of the init array program that we have seen. So it shows the index in one column and the value of the element at the corresponding index in the other column. And you see that these values match the values provided by the array initializer in the program. That's all for this video. Thanks once again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, which is part 2 of arrays in Java.